What's up, everybody? Today we're going to recap the 2022 year, the games that I was able to beat, and which ones were my favorite. So 2022 for me personally was a great year for the backlog. I played a lot of awesome retro arcade games, and as you can see here on the list right next to me, and it was a lot of fun. So I just want to group everything together and kind of just focus in on certain games that I really enjoyed. Alright, so the first group I want to focus on is Pokemon. I played a couple of Pokemon games this year and they were all awesome. Arceus, Leaf Green, Heartgold, and Emerald. I just really want to just briefly cover Heartgold. I beat Soul Silver last year completely. It was the first time I ever did it, where you beat Red, you get all the badges. It was a great experience, and I did it again with Heartgold. Pokemon Gen 4 for the DS, especially the remakes of Gen 2, are my favorite Pokemon games, hands down. I love the pixel art style, the Pokemon following you around. Just kind of the battle with Red at the end is so epic. It's so good, and it's a very satisfactory ending to a really long game, really, if you're gonna take on Red. So it was a lot of fun. But the one I really want to focus on is Arceus. Arceus came out early in the year, and it was a great game, man. It had that eureka moment for me. You know, I like to call them eureka moments, where a game does something that just kind of, the moment you do it, it clicks, and you know you're gonna have a good time. And the moment you throw that first Pokeball and catch that first Pokemon with the catch mechanic of Arceus, it's like discovering a new color. You know, it's like seeing smell. You know, it's one of those things where, like, you never knew how good it was until you actually tried it. And the catching mechanic of Arceus is absolutely amazing. The game obviously lacks a little bit in the terms of, like, fighting department, in terms there's not enough trainers, there are no gyms. It really focuses in on the catching mechanic of Pokemon. Now, me personally, my favorite aspect of Pokemon games is the catching. I love catching all the Pokemon. I love going for the rare ones. Anything that has a 1% catch chance, I'm going for it. I don't care. I love going for the hard to catch Pokemon, and I love filling out the decks. So Arceus really was, I would say, it definitely hit all the right beats for me. If you want to catch Arceus, you have to complete the decks. For me, that was no issue. Completed the decks, and it was an awesome encounter. It was a great experience, and I would say it's my favorite Pokemon game on Switch, hands down. Alright, so the next group I want to focus in on is arcades. Guys, I played a ton of arcade games this year, and I want to do a separate video on this because the amount of quality retro/arcade games that are available on the PlayStation and on the Switch will surprise you. There is some great quality in these consoles that you can play today. Now, I think the stigma with a lot of people, and I think even with me myself, is that we think that, oh, these retro games, they're hard to play now. They're not available on current consoles. We often think that a lot of these games are locked in on the consoles that it came out in, so maybe it's like, man, I don't want to buy a new console and pay a lot of money for this game. But when you start to look into it and actually search the shop and search certain games, you're going to be surprised with the amount of quality arcade games and retro games that are available on the Switch today for a very reasonable price. I played a lot of beat 'em up games this year. I played the Streets of Rage series, so fun. I played it on the Sega Collection, a blast. The Captain Commando beat 'em up. Capcom has a beat 'em up collection, and it has Captain Commando, Knights of the Round, Final Fight. I played all of those. Those are great beat 'em ups, and really good on an arcade stick. And those games are so awesome. Just fun little things, man. If you have some time to kill, if you just kind of want to sit down and just play something and have fun, these games are right up your alley. These are quality arcade games that if you try to buy them on the Genesis, if you try to buy them on the Super Nintendo, they're going to run you a lot of money, but they're available right now on the Switch and on the PlayStation. I prefer Switch because you could just take the console anywhere you go. It makes it that much more versatile. Another highlight for me was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. This is a great beat 'em up. I love the art style. I love the music. I love how each character has their own little identity and personality with how they move, with how they punch, with how each move is kind of unique to its character, and that's a lot of fun. It's a great modern beat 'em up that I wish we had more of, really. But Shredder's Revenge is a top of the line beat 'em up game. If you can pick that up, I highly recommend it. If you get it on sale, even better. But Shredder's Revenge to me was, out of all the arcade games and beat 'em ups, definitely the highlight of the bunch. I also got into some Neo Geo. Metal Slug, amazing side-scrolling shooter, and Shock Troopers, an amazing top-down shooter as well. Neo Geo has some insane quality, guys. It is absolutely amazing, the sprite work that they have, just the gameplay of everything, the animations, the music, the boss fights, everything. It is challenging, but they're fun games, and I really like Shock Troopers. I don't hear that one be mentioned a lot when people talk Neo Geo, but Shock Troopers is a great one, and you can get those on Switch as well. Now, as far as fighters go, I got into fighting games a lot this year as well. Street Fighter and King of Fighters are the two that stood out for me. Those are the ones that I'm playing a lot of. Primarily Street Fighter. My favorite one that I have is Street Fighter Alpha 3 or 03. I have, if you watched my Dreamcast unboxing video, I have Street Fighter 03, the Japanese version, for the Dreamcast, and that game is amazing. It is my favorite Street Fighter. The Capcom Arcade Museum collection added Street Fighter Alpha 3 to that collection. You can get it for like $2, and it's on the Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. You can get those. That is a high quality, awesome Street Fighter game that you can get for a really good price. Really great game. Another one that I also got into is King of Fighters. King of Fighters is my favorite. It is absolutely amazing. There are so many characters. Each character has their own move set. Each character has their own special. They have so much personality, and I love the tag teaming style of it all. It's fighters of 3. When one dies, the next one comes in and you keep fighting, and then whatever until the last one is standing. It is a great game. The Switch has literally King of Fighters from 94 to 2002. The PlayStation has some special edition ones that you can play with online play, which is fun. And there is obviously the new one, King of Fighters 15, which is great as well. And this is an amazing fighting series that I was very happy to get into. And I absolutely love the series right now, and I'm trying to get better at it every day, but obviously I'm never gonna go pro, but it is a lot of fun to play if you're a fighter enthusiast. Now, I also want to briefly cover some Game Boy games that I beat this year. I beat Donkey Kong Country, I beat Castlevania Circle of the Moon, and I beat Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. These are 3 awesome Game Boy Advance titles, beautiful artwork, beautiful, amazing music, great 16-bit pixel art. The Castlevania, I played it on the Castlevania collection that is all available on modern consoles today, which is all 3 Game Boy Advance games that in one collection that you can get for a good price. And as of recording this video, I think that game is on sale right now. So you should maybe look into it, see if it's something you like. But these are 3 quality games that are expensive to get for the Game Boy Advance, but you can get them for about $20, all 3 on the Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. This is a great series and some great games. Alright, so now I want to go to the 2 RPG games that I beat this year, and these are 2 bangers. I want to first start with Chrono Trigger. This was a huge feat for me. I had never played Chrono Trigger ever in my life. This was the first time I ever played this game. And guys, when I tell you that this game is amazing, it truly is something special. It's a rare thing where, you know, things get hyped a lot these days. I feel like movies, TV shows, games themselves get so hyped these days. Hype. And sometimes when you play them, you have these unrealistic expectations, and because of the hype, you're almost doomed to not like the piece that you're trying to enjoy, whether it be a movie or a game. Chrono Trigger, to me, lives up to the hype entirely, and it blew me out of the water completely. It is an amazing game that holds up very well. Now, I played the PlayStation 1 version, the worst version to play. Do not play the PlayStation 1 version. It is terrible because of the loading screens. It is very slow, it is sluggish, it is on disc, so you have a lot of loading screens. I don't have it on the Super Nintendo, and I don't have a PC, so I couldn't play it on that, and I refuse to play them on the phone. I do have the DS version, but because it was my first time playing Chrono Trigger, I did want to play it on the TV, so I tried it on the PlayStation 1. It is a bit of a drag, but it got the job done. The game holds up very well, man. 16-bit graphics, beautiful music. The music is amazing. Each character has their own arc. Each character has their own story, and you have the option of completing their stories or not. And depending on whose story you complete or not affects the way the game ends. The game has multiple endings. The final boss fight is challenging, but not impossible. The game is amazing. It tells a great story. It involves time travel, which is something right up my alley. Absolutely enjoyed this game. It is amazing. Now, one of the things that surprises me a lot about this game is that it is not available in a lot of places to play right now. Like I said, it is only available right now on Steam, PC if you have a PC, or it is available on mobile. Those are the two places you could play it today. That thing is locked on the Super Nintendo. It came out on the PlayStation 1 as part of a Final Fantasy collection for some reason, and it's on the DS. Those are all, obviously, if you don't have retro consoles, it's hard to get those. And obviously, I mean, I don't recommend it, but I mean, if you really want to play this game, you might as well get it on the phone and at least try to, you know, do it with touchscreens. I personally don't like gaming on phones because of the immersion. I just feel like with phones, you get a lot of notifications, you know, you get messages, sometimes you get calls, and all that can just disrupt what you're playing. And I've just never been a fan of doing that on the phone. But I would say if that is the only method that you have of playing that game, if you don't want to download a ROM or emulate it, then I think the phone, unfortunately, is your best option if you don't have a PC. The game is truly amazing. I was very, very happy when I beat it. And the great thing, too, is that this is not a long game. I beat this game in under 25 hours, which for, obviously, an RPG in the 90s, it feels a bit unheard of. You know, I feel like most games, Final Fantasy games, you know, they're known for being very, very long. But this is a game that, dude, you could sit down, you could play this for half an hour, you could play this for an hour, and you'll make a lot of progress in the story and what you're trying to accomplish. And so I thought that's awesome. It's not only it's an amazing RPG, but it's not a long one. It's effective with what it's trying to do, and it does it very, very well. All right, and the other one I want to cover is LiveAlive. Guys, LiveAlive is awesome. Absolutely love it. The only downside is it's not a deep RPG. When you compare it to Chrono Trigger, there's so many levels to Chrono Trigger. Character relationships, combo moves that you can use within characters, certain pairs make certain special moves, all this stuff has layers and layers. LiveAlive is not that deep, but it tells a great story and it has fun gameplay. For one, the music is amazing and it introduces the best battle music ever. It is the best. And the game does a really good job at building up moments. So the game, you have 7 individual characters, or is it 8? 7 or 8. And each character has its own story, has its own chapter. And they have their own final boss fight. And then you just keep doing that. And then once you do all the characters, you unlock a secret chapter, which is kind of like the origin of the villain of the game that you fight at the end. Now the cool thing is that when you're gearing up to fight the villain, you get to pick a party of 4. So you can pick, you know, 4 of your favorite characters that you played with and kind of team up and, you know, get ready for that fight, which is cool. The game does a really good job at building up moments, like I was mentioning earlier. Like, each character has a chapter, and it just does a great job of just kind of building and building and building. And when you get to that final, like, confrontation with the boss, and that music starts to play, dude, that thing gets your blood pumping. You are ready to go. You are ready to fight. You are ready to destroy anything in your path. It is really good. It's really cool how they do that, how they're able to kind of build up in those moments. Some chapters are better than others. I was really excited for the Wild West one, but unfortunately, it's one of the shortest ones in the game. Yeah, I beat that in about 45 minutes. It's a very short chapter. There are other ones that are longer. The Akira one is one that I think about with the Steel Titan. That one's about a couple hours. But the chapters are not insanely long. For the most part, they're relatively short. And this is another good game that you can beat in under 25 hours. It did not take me long to beat this game. I had a lot of fun. The cool thing is that at the end, when you're gearing up for the final boss fight, it does have an open area where you can, you know, like XP farm and just kind of level up your party if you feel like you want to be a little bit stronger. I was able to beat the final boss with a party of around level 15. But you could go higher if you want. I did not have a huge issue fighting the boss with that with that level. I did lose 2 characters in the fight, but I ended up beating him with 2 characters as well. I had a friend who beat the game with a party of like 20 to 30 levels. So I mean, you could over level if you want, or you could, you know, just kind of level how you want, and you could take the boss in however level you want, which is cool. All right, so the last stuff I want to cover here. 2 things. First one, Zelda. The Zelda games I beat this year were Twilight Princess and The Wind Waker. Now guys, I have never played Twilight Princess before. This was the first time I played Twilight Princess. I played the HD version on the Wii U. And guys, I really liked the game. I thought it was really, really cool. The dungeons were awesome. It had a lot of dungeons. And I think it told a really cool story and it had a proper climax. And I really liked the Midna character. I think she was great. And I love her whole transformation, and I like the reveals that you get later in game. I don't want to fully spoil the game for you. Only downsides I had is that the camera in this game is not good. It has not aged well. Specifically if you are on a horse. If you are on a horse, and you're trying to move this camera and you're in the middle of a fight, and it is horrible. There was one particular area where I was dying over and over again because I just couldn't find the enemy with the camera. The camera was just, it's a mess sometimes, but overall the game is really good. I love the aesthetic of it, and it's a really good version to play on the Wii U. I think they did a great job with it, and overall, I mean, this was a game that I had never played before, and I was very happy with the conclusion of it and with the story that it told. Wind Waker. I've already played Wind Waker on the GameCube. It is my favorite Zelda game of the series, and I replayed it again on the Wii U, and it is an absolute blast. The music, just the world. I love the boat riding in the game. That does come down to opinion, whether you like it or not. I personally love the boat because it's just a vibe you're going through. The game also introduces like a super sail that just speeds. I was using that because it's just more effective. But I always love just kind of sailing, fishing. The combat in that game is really, really good, man. You could really stack up hits with like different items. I would use the boomerang to make them dizzy, then I'd use the bow to snipe them. You could use the grappling hook to steal some gems from them. It is the game is a lot of fun. It is a joy. I played it again on the Wii U. I was really curious if I would like it again because I had played it on the GameCube. It had been a very long time since I had last beaten it. So I was curious to see if I would enjoy the experience again. And I did. I did enjoy it a lot. Surprisingly, the second time I played it, it did feel shorter. And I think it's just because I kind of knew where everything was, and it just kind of makes it for a more faster gameplay, I guess. But the game is beautiful. I love the art style. Love Toon Link. He is my favorite Link, and that is my favorite Zelda game. So it was great revisiting that in HD. It looked beautiful on the Wii U. Alright guys, so that is the 2022 recap. I'm very happy with this year. I covered a lot of ground in terms of backlog. I played a lot of retro games. I played some games, for example, like Chrono Trigger and Twilight Princess, games that have been on my list for years that I was finally able to play, and they did not disappoint. So I'm very happy with that. It has been a fun ride. This is going to be the last video I post this year. I'll be back next year with some new content, some new videos, and I want to thank those that have supported, man. Shout out Chocolate Brother the Collector, shout out G Funky Collect, Salt and Paper Gaming, Green Eyed Gamer. Thank you guys for the support you guys, you all have shown at the start of this channel. It is very young, it is new, and I'm just having a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun making this stuff, editing it up, and just doing something on the side that's just a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to next year being a great year. There's a lot of new games next year that I am looking forward to. So I don't know how many backlog games I'll be covering next year, but hopefully in the 2023 recap, if we're all still here, I'll have a nice list to cover for you guys. Alright y'all, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the support you have shown so far, and we will see you in 2023. Later guys.